everybody, this is Pyrodin. Today we're going to continue on with our building of the Crusader helmet from the awesome book Dragons of Jupiter, written by Mr. Jacob Holo. Now, last time we managed to get the top part of the shell completed, so today we're going to work on a midsection for the shell. It's going to go pretty much the way that we did for the top part, but this time, since we're dealing with one solid piece, this ought to be a lot easier. So what we're going to start out with is we are going to take a piece of ordinary craft foam, and we're going to take our flexible ruler that we made, and we are basically going to go ahead and get a rough idea of the size. So from there to there to here is about 20.5 inches. So here's the first problem that we run into. The sheet's not long enough, but not to worry. That is one of the awesome things about Warbler. So, to begin, in comparison to the top part of the shell, this part in the actual drawing is much smaller, but because of the way we're building the helmet, we're going to extend that down, then have the final bottom piece here go beyond the bottom part of the foam that we've already cut. Basically, the foam is just to protect our heads from the pretty strong plastic that we're using. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out just a normal strip of this and cut in an extra side piece to go with it, and we're going to wrap that in Warbler. Give me just a moment and I will get this part cut out and I'll be right back. Alright, so I've got our pieces cut out. Got a sheet of Warbler here. So what we're going to do, take our heat gun, get it plugged in. And we are going to move the foam to the side for the moment. And we're going to turn the heat gun up to high. Just run it over the Warbler a little bit, back and forth. It's going to take just a moment. Let me adjust the camera here. As you can see, as the heat gets onto it, the Warbler is slowly starting to flatten out, which is good. Alright, that should be good for now. I'm going to take our foam, and don't just lay it on there flat, kind of work it in. That way it minimizes air bubbles. And just set that right there beside it. So now that we've gotten our Warbler kind of softened up, and we're going to heat up the back side of it now. Be sure to run it on the inside as well. And look at that, it just folds over so beautifully. Alright, so now, one thing to know about Warbler is that two different sides to it have two different functions. You've got the shiny side here, which is your glue side. You got your rough side here, which is going to be your exterior. It's going to be where all your protection comes from. So, you want to keep the Warbler nice and toasty. As you warm it up, now pull your heat back and work it in. You see how it's just molding around the foam so beautifully. Just going to keep this process up until we get the whole piece done. It's going to take me just a moment to get that done, so I'm going to go ahead and pause the video here, and I'll be right back. Okay, so we've got the piece wrapped up in the Warbler. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and get this shaped. So what I have actually done is I have gone to the local food store and I have purchased these absolutely wonderful containers of Crystal Light. The reason I've decided to use these is because they have a slight curve to them. They're a very nice oval shape, and they're just what I need to give this a little bit of extra padding and cushion around the sides. So, just going to run the heat over it. There we go. Run it on the underside as well. We don't want this piping hot because honestly we don't want to melt our plastic tubes that we're using down here. However, we do want it hot enough to where we can easily maneuver it. Alright, now we run it over the top. Just gonna work that with our hands for a second. Now, I don't recommend doing this with your bare hands unless your body is used to absorbing large amounts of heat in a very short period of time. I personally have worked in a restaurant and a fast food joint, so I can tell you from experience, I'm used to taking the heat. And if you couldn't guess by my title, Piratin', I like things hot. Just to give you an idea, my favorite type of chips are jalapeno. Alright, so now that we've got a nice little curve to that, now we just need to shape it like we did the rest of the helmet. So let's get these out of the way. Hold that in just a spot for a moment. Now, I can see one spot that I need to hit with some heat. Alright, so I'm going to pause this video here while I get this finished shaped, and when I get back, we should be good to move on.